Yo, what is up? Week 5 football. Here we go. Fantasy. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a good fantasy year so far. Man, every time I get on this show, for some reason the camera like zooms in onto my face. Either way, I hope everybody how's your guys' records going? Right now you're kind of like seeing like, oh man, I have playoff potential. Do I not? Are you 1-3 or are you 4-0, 3-1? What kind of trades have been made? If you guys have any like crazy trades that have happened so far this year, please message us in the show and let us know because I would love to talk about it and see. The guys like any type of football. Feel free to throw it in on the messages sometimes. Send me a message telling me what happened during the week. I love talking about it or seeing what people do. So this week we're gonna have a little bit of a faster show. Really gonna run through. I had some stuff going on over this weekend, and I really didn't get to watch a whole lot, unfortunately. So I don't have a lot to say about like the actual play of every single person because I really was not able to watch any football. I was kind of away and not able to watch anything. So I'm just gonna give the top tens of quarterback, running back, receivers today. Run through that really quick, and then we'll call it a week. But and then also I still do have my watch like notables and then also busts of each position this week. So again, guys, don't forget every single week, send me a message, questions, anything, guys, scenarios anybody has for fantasy football related. You can catch me Facebook, so Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Big Tom Bud. You can find me at Tom Terakowski on Facebook. If you don't know how to spell that, just send me a message or whatever, and I'll send you a link or whatever. And then also on Snapchat, Big Tom T 1990. I'm almost on every single platform. So send me your messages, send me your questions. I'd love to talk about it on the show and the scenarios. We all love talking about it and seeing it. So feel free to do that. Anyways, we're going to get to it right away today. I have not looked into a whole lot of injuries, newer injuries this week. Again, this has been kind of a really, really insane week for me. So a little bit behind on this week. Almost wasn't even able to do the show today, but jumped it in there real quick just to get it in there. Trey Lance, question mark, is he going to be playing for Garoppolo this week? Who knows? We'll see. Kind of excited to see that. I'm sure 49ers are really excited to see what Trey Lance is going to do if he plays. Again, today they just announced for my Bears that Justin Fields will be the starter going forward, and I am ecstatic. Very, very excited. Look, I understand the Bears offense is not going to do big numbers. They're just not. It's a work in progress, but it's exciting that we got our future quarterback in there finally, and we got freaking the Red Rocket out of there. At least in my opinion, I'm excited about it. So we'll get into it. Quarterbacks this week, top 10. Of course, number 1. I'm gonna actually even stop saying it, but it's Patty Mahomes against Buffalo. Good game right there. Number 2. Continuing that MVP. I'm gonna say it every single week until the guy is like, oh man, he had a not that good of a week. I'm gonna say it every week. The fighting MVP coming for that MVP medal, Kyler Murray at number 2 against San Fran. That'll be a good match. A couple good games this week. You know that there's like 4 or 5 good games. Everything else is kind of like eh. So this is actually like the first week that mediocre games, actually, in my opinion. I felt like so far this year been really good games. Thursday, really good game. Seattle and Rams. But like again, there's only like 4 or 5 games to me that are like really, really good games. So either way, number 3. I know I'm gonna have a lot of excited people on this one. At number 3, Dak Prescott is making the list against the New York Football Giants. Yeah, he's gonna sling that ball. I was just talking to a buddy about this game, and he almost feels he's like, man, you got Dak. Dak deserves to be right there in that spot against the Giants, but he's like, what's the possibility of Dak being taken out of the game because they're crushing the Giants in this game? Possibility, right? 28-0, pull Dak, pull Zeke, and go from there. Possible. But again, if they got it to those points, it's probably because Dak threw for 3 or 4 touchdowns at that point. So Dak at 3. I know I'm gonna have a lot of excited people with that one. At number 4, Tom Brady against Miami. Guys, Tom Brady is a man on a mission right now. I don't know if he's here to show the haters. He's definitely playing for the haters. I feel the guy could retire and set off into the perfect life for the rest of his life. And this guy is playing to prove to people that hate on him for his age and everything. I'm one of them. I was a man. How he's not gonna be able to play? No, this guy's playing. So number 4 for Tom Brady. 5, Aaron Rodgers against Cincy. Cincy's not a good defense. Aaron Rodgers is starting to churn that ball up. So he's cooking it. 5, Rodgers. At number 6, Russell Wilson. I'm getting a little worried with Russell Wilson, just a tad bit. I don't know why, but he did this last year where he started off the year extremely good, MVP quality type a start to the year last year, and then fell off hard. And for some reason, I'm slowly starting to watch. I'm gonna keep my eye on Russell Wilson because I feel like there's a possibility of that gonna happen. I know we're only talking about week 5 here. But for some reason, I could just see something happening with Russell Wilson. It doesn't look normal. And I'm watching it. Tyler Lockett, to me, is, again, like one of the most inconsistent receivers. Welcome to the Big Time Bud Show. Von Slice Gotti, what's up, dude? So, yeah, with Russell Wilson, I'm definitely I'm watching it. I'm here for it to see what's going to happen with him. At number 7, he is going to actually – he's gonna start slipping on my list a little bit, honestly. Like he's definitely gonna start slipping. I need to see more out of him. With Josh Allen at 7, he only has, I think, like 2 weeks where he is under like 15 points in those weeks. I gotta start taking that into account. Stephon Diggs isn't having an insane year yet, guys. I know week 5 still, but. I'm like I said, I'm doing all these ranks and everything based on what's happening throughout the weeks, and in that week is where my ranks are coming from. So Josh Allen versus Kansas City. Kansas City's been decent on defense with the passing defense, but Josh Allen's not literally lighting the field up like everybody was kind of assuming he was going to do. Definitely not like Patrick Mahomes. Not no Kyler Murray. Not no Matthew Stafford yet. So. Yeah, he's not putting those numbers up. Not no Aaron Rodgers. He's gonna start slipping on my list, and I think 7 is a good spot to put him right now. And we'll see going forward where that man's is gonna be. At number 8, I'm gonna go with Matt Stafford against Seattle. In Seattle, you got to take that into account. Seattle, probably one of the craziest stadiums to play in with the 12th man. Matthew Stafford, though, the weapons galore. Cooper Kupp. Woods, it's insane. He's got so much talent around him, and again, probably the most underrated quarterback in my opinion over the last 10 years. Playing for one of the worst teams ever, but yeah, the man's just gonna keep cooking it. He's gonna keep throwing those touchdowns. I almost feel when you look at Stafford every single week, no matter who he's playing, he's gonna be throwing for 3 touchdowns. I really do feel that. I almost feel like 8 is kind of disrespectful to Stafford. But there's some players out there playing right now. So a top 10 list for quarterbacks is actually kind of hard to come up with. But Stafford belongs in there. And I almost feel like 8's too low for him. Number 9. This is a guy I have not been nice to at all. Not nice. If you guys have been paying attention week to week, he's on my bust every single week. I have crapped on this team. And I have got to stop. I guess the guy's proven me wrong, and he made my list this week for top 10. At number 9, I'm going with Jalen Hurts against Carolina. The team isn't doing killer numbers, but Jalen Hurts is. Jalen Hurts is actually putting up those numbers, man. The touchdowns every single week. He's throwing the yards. He's playing. The guy's a gamer, and I slapped my hand this week when I didn't, again, like I said, I didn't watch this week, but when I seen what he did and I watched when I looked back at his tapes and stuff like that, I had a little smirk on my face for this guy's proving me wrong bigger than almost anybody in the league right now. So I got to give it to the man. Number 9, Jalen Hurts. At number 10, this is another guy. I feel like this is going to be once maybe this week or this year. I mean, we'll see. You guys know how high I am on Justin Herbert, but man, the guy had to slip to number 10 against. You know what? It was really weird. Justin Herbert is. There's two people. I actually have it marked as two people at number 10 because it was really hard for me to decide which one. Justin Herbert. He's going against Cleveland this week, and Cleveland is kind of playing nasty with their defense right now. That front seven, unbelievable. But other than that, it's like the other person I have to start giving a little respect to, and I don't give respect to at least the passing game. Yo, Chico, what's up, dude? How you doing? The one person that I don't give respect to as far as quarterback goes, and I won't as far as the passing game goes. I think that he mediocre quarterback at most for his passing game, and it's because he doesn't have weapons. Marquise Brown, so obviously, as you know, Lamar Jackson, but he's mediocre at best. But his running ability is what puts him up there into that top 10. Again, I don't really have him at top 10. It's almost like I had him and Herbert together at that spot. It was kind of hard for me to decide just because of Lamar's running ability. The passing game's not there. Again, like I said, guys, if you guys want to question me on Lamar's passing game, the guy in his entire career only has 2 games with 300 plus yards. So, I think average for Lamar Jackson is like 180 yards a game. In this league nowadays, that's not good quarterback play. But again, 100 yards rushing definitely turns that around, especially when it comes to fantasy football with those numbers. So I had those together on that one. Notable watches, I have Kirk Cousins against Detroit. I feel a big game from Kirk coming here, 350 yards. 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. Kirk is a guy that does run it sometimes. He'll throw the 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns a game. It's not all the time, but it happens. And then let's see. I got Derek Carr. You got to watch that man. He's playing really good. I actually kind of was sleeping on Derek Carr a little bit. I looked at his stats last night, and this guy has I think he has 2 games over 340 yards, and then the other 2 games are definitely over 250, but he's got 2 touchdowns every single one of those weeks. So I was kind of sleeping on Derek Carr a little bit. I don't think it's enough to put him in top 10 yet, but like I said, these notables is the people I'm watching possibly top 10 with the way that they're playing. Something to watch, look forward to, be excited about if you have them. For people who have like 2 quarterback leagues, I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't feel comfortable having Derek Carr as my QB1 if you're running 2 quarterback leagues. But you're definitely probably happy if you have him at 2. So definitely watch that. And then my bust this week is Joe Burrow against Green Bay. The bust this week was kind of hard because, like I said, the games this week are kind of weird, kind of lopsided games if you look at it on paper, and only like 4 or 5 games in my opinion that are decent, worth watching. That might be tough matchups. So yeah, but Joe Burrow, he's hitting that bust for me this week, and that's the only one at quarterback for that. So let's see, running back, we are staying with it at number 1. Everybody, the mileage for the last 2 years, what's going to happen? And the team's not even playing that good yet. But at number 1, Derrick Henry against the Jags. Jags are jag bags and playing like it. They are terrible. Derrick Henry, put that man on the list, and I almost feel like he's got that Patty Mahomes flavor right now where he's not coming off number 1. I mean, he's going to have it. He'll have the game where he runs for 50, 60 yards. It happens. Every year it happens. You have 160, 200 yards out of Derrick Henry, and then out of nowhere he'll run for 50 or 60 yards. But if you guys want to look at his production, for what people have crapped on him for him not being a receiving running back for his entire career so far. And this year, I don't know if you look at his stats, it is progressing week by week by week. This guy is getting more touches as far as receiving goes, and that could be a large case to AJ Brown and Julio Jones being a little banged up. But no, I mean, in my opinion, it's not, because they have other running backs over there that were receiving the ball. And I feel like they're purposely starting to add Derrick Henry into that mix a little bit, which is scary if you get him into the passing game. What he does in the running game alone, man, you get Derrick Henry get it in that passing, yikes. So, number 2, Dalvin Cook Against Detroit, that's if he plays. Who knows? But Detroit's bad. They're bad. And Dalvin Cook he's still good, even though the guy is just so injury prone. There will be more time this year that he probably sits out. It's been his career. This guy doesn't play a full year. And I said at the beginning of the year, and I hate saying, I don't want to say it about anybody. Obviously, you don't ever wish anybody to have anything bad, but the guy is going to sit out 5 to 6 games a year. He's going to, especially now that we have an extra game added onto the year. He'll sit 5 to 6 games a year, at least. So you got to keep that into account. But against Detroit, I had to put Dalvin Cook. I had to give him the respect of 2. At 3, man's moved up all the way up with Zeke. Zeke's at number 3. He's playing, and you got to take into account what Tony Pollard's doing over there too. He's definitely from what I've watched, Tony Pollard is starting to get actually first down reps. But Zeke is still very heavily involved in the passing game, and he's getting the goal line touches, obviously with 2 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks in each game. So Zeke is definitely he's worked his way up. That man, he almost didn't even start the year on my list, to be honest with you, when we first started. He's there. So at number 4, people are questioning me every single week why I have this guy up so high, and I'm telling you guys, at the end of the year, he's going to have over 1,500 all-purpose yards. But at number 4, Austin Ekeler. Again, he's playing Cleveland. It's a very, very tough defense, but dude, Ekeler is already starting to he's starting to get those. He's starting to churn, and I feel like he hasn't even hit his peak yet as far as like getting going on the season. They have not broke him into the receiving game that hard yet, and he's starting to churn a little bit on the run game. So I've been saying, I feel like he's going to have Alvin Kamara type of year, 1,500 yards all purpose by the end of the year, and he looks good out there. He's playing good. This guy hits the hole. I always said that Dalvin Cook hits the hole harder than anybody. You know what? It's not that Ekeler hits the hole hard. It's that this guy finds the hole and slips through without being touched. Like, he just doesn't get touched. And I'm really high on just the whole Chargers team. Every week I say this. But Ekeler at number 4. At number 5, he slipped, and he's going to continue to slip. This is another guy that's going to slip down my list. I'm sorry, Vaughn, but Alvin Kamara, he's at 5 this week against Washington. Washington's not good, and that's the only reason that I have Alvin that high, to be honest with you. Alvin only has 1 game this year where he has over 80 rushing yards, but that's not even almost a surprise because, like I said, Alvin Kamara never in his career has had over 1,000 rushing yards ever. It's always been accumulated 1,500 yards all-purpose, receiving and running. And I feel like Alvin has had a very slow start to the season as far as rushing. I think when I looked at his stats, it was like 40 yards one game. But it's not entirely his fault. The Saints, it's kind of worry. Like the Saints had that big week 1 and gave everybody big hope. Like, holy cow, are the Saints for real? And now the Saints are like showing we ain't. So I'm sorry, Vaughn, if you're there, but it's yeah. Well, that's a team to watch for sure to see what's going to happen. Also, and I have to rub it in, the big time Saints did pick up Cody Parkey, the double doink today. Let's go. How many double doinks? Let's bet it now. 2 double doinks by the end of the year? 3? Oh man. At 6, I actually went back and forth with this one for a minute. Definitely probably the most I looked over on my entire rankings through quarterback, running back, receivers. I went back and forth with these 2 guys, and I am going to stick with at 6 is going to be Aaron Jones against Cincy. And then number 7 will be Saquon Barkley. I actually, at first, I put Saquon Barkley at 6 and then Aaron Jones at 7. And then I realized, I was like, man, Saquon's playing Dallas. And to be honest with you guys, Dallas is way more real than, you got to admit it. Dallas is, at least their defense, is way more real than anybody thought was going to happen. Dallas is a good team. And I know that Dallas sees that Saquon is starting to get more touches. They see Saquon starting to get into the 20, 25 touches a week. It's going to start happening, and he's starting to pick up. He's starting to heat up a little bit. He had a really, really good last week, and they're seeing that. And I feel like they're going to zone in on Saquon, but there's only so much that you can still kind of do to a Saquon. As long as the Giants focus and let Saquon get his feed Saquon, yeah, it's that one was kind of hard. It was hard figuring out which one was going to be 6 and 7. But I'm going to stick with that. Aaron Jones 6, and then Saquon 7. At 8, Najee Harris. I've had him on my list every single week. I want to see a little bit more out of this guy. This guy is very exciting. I think Ben Roethlisberger, I'm going to keep saying it until they start feeding Najee. I'm just going to keep saying it. Maybe Tomlinson or whoever over there hears this, that they need to get the ball out of Roethlisberger's hands for the love of God, man. Somebody sent a message this week to me, and it said that Roethlisberger is as mobile as a tree. He's got the mobility of a tree, and it's true. He is bad. He's not playing good. He looks. Is he hurting that team by playing? Who knows? I think he's not good. You got to get the ball out of his hands right now and start giving it to Najee. You got to feed this man and let him do what he's going to do. Everybody knows he's good. We all know he's good and talented, obviously. And he does have a tough defense this week in Denver. But at some point, you got to start having to get this ball out of Roethlisberger's hands. At number 9, James Robinson. To me, probably it was the biggest question going into the year. Why was James Robinson so low? Why were they going ETN over James Robinson? I couldn't figure that out. After last year, James Robinson had that top 5 performance at the end of the year for running backs, and it kind of boggled my mind what was going on, why they did that. And now ETN down, James Robinson's in. Give him a few weeks because they weren't starting this guy. They weren't even really playing this guy. And they got him going, and he had a really good week. Jags are bad. They're going to be playing from behind a lot, and James Robinson's going to be limited because of that factor alone. But he's going to – I really like James Robinson. I think this guy is very underrated. And against Tennessee is like a question, too, right now. What the hell happened to that team? That's a surprise. Their defense is gone. I know they're missing their 2 big playmakers on offense. Well, not their big playmakers. Henry's their big playmaker, but they're missing A.J. Brown and Julio. The team is just kind of whack. They're whack right now. Whack. So, James Robinson. And then at number 10, and guys, also, surprisingly, this guy is also hitting my bust this week, but he had to hit my list at 10. Nick Chubb. Number 10, bust at the same time. Let me hear it. Let's see, notables. And this is a weird one. I when I looked at the professionals rankings, believe it or not, and this is again through ESPN that I was looking at their rankings. If you want to check me, but DAndre Swift they have ranked very high on the list, and that it's like, I think you guys are sleeping, or you guys are way over high on DAndre Swift, at least right now. He hasn't done anything. He's been injured. Hasn't got over 40 yards in a game. He's not doing anything as far as rushing. I don't think he's top 50 yards rushing in a game. He hasn't even been playing. They've been playing what's his name, Williams over there. And that kind of surprised me. But the Lions actually have a little bit of a decent offensive line, so I got to give it to him on that. And so pretty much on notable this week, I have anybody who's playing Lions running back. Whoever's playing it, I gotta give him that. And then at busts, I have a bunch of busts this week because these are high running backs that were drafted way too high that I was telling everybody going into the year, drafting them in the first round, early second round. I'm putting them on my bust until they do anything. And like they're so far into the bust zone right now that they gotta show something for 2-3 weeks consecutively. But I do have Jonathan Taylor, I have Antonio Gibson, and I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't drafted that high, but for sure Jonathan Taylor and Antonio Gibson. Jonathan Taylor I was kind of hoping for sure because this guy has such an epic offensive line. I was one of the ones that was like, oh, Jonathan Taylor's going to have a good year. That offensive line's hurt. They're very hurt right now. They're not even playing. Quentin Nelson's not playing, who probably the best offensive lineman in the league. Jonathan Taylor's hitting the bust. Antonio Gibson hitting the bust. Clyde Edwards-Helaire hitting the bust. Um, and Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is hitting that bust. I like Josh Jacobs. It kind of pains me to see him not. They're not feeding him the way that they probably should. The Raiders are good, and I mean they're like right. They're good. They're playing good, and just not utilizing Josh Jacobs the way that I thought they probably would. So, at receiver, we're going receivers. Number 1, Davante Adams. Again, you know what? The number ones are kind of like it's crazy. Henry, Patty, Davante. Every single year, there's always like a top 3, usually top 3 to 5 in each category, and there still is. There's still like there's still people that you put up at the top all the time, but they could be exchanged in and out. Usually you have a top 3 solid of running back or receiver that you know for sure. And again, you still do, but Davante Adams is the for sure number 1, I feel, every single week right now. Aaron Rodgers is only going – he's not going to anybody but Davante. And he's doing pretty good. So Davante number 1. Tyreek Hill at number 2. This guy's coming off of 185 yards in a game. And he had 196 or something like that in week 1. He had a week 2 and week 3, but Tyreek Hill is still the man. Still deserves number 2, and I don't think anybody questions or argue. There's a few receivers that I almost have. I think last week I actually put Cooper Kupp over Tyreek Hill last week, and Cooper Kupp is my number 3, but we're seeing huge weeks out of receivers, and this happens during fantasy football and football in general. You see a huge week out of a receiver, and then they have a down week. It's going to happen. It's for sure going to happen. But I feel like Tyreek Hill, more so at the end of the year, has better weeks than not. So I got to give him the 2 because I think Cooper Kupp is going to fall into that category where I think he's going to hit like the middle ground. Like he's gonna have middle. He'll have just as many good games as he will have less than mediocre games. And less than mediocre, still saying I believe that Cooper Kupp every single week, no matter what, you got to see that this guy gets at least 40, 50 yards a game. I would assume you're going to never have less than 5 points from Cooper Kupp. And that's talking non-PPR. PPR, we're talking about 10, 12 points at least for him, no matter what. And that's my opinion. At number 4, Stephon Diggs, not having the crazy year. Josh Allen's actually spreading it a little bit. Knox, Beasley's having a really, really good year, notable for him. But yeah, Stephon Diggs, number 4. Number 5, another guy having a mediocre season. He's having a mediocre, nothing crazy. But it's DK Metcalf, and how do you not like he has to be in the top 10 list for receiver. The only this one kind of scares me. I did not have this written down, but it almost Ramsey's locking him up. Ramsey is locking up DK Metcalf. So does that mean that Lockett has a little bit more of a shot? Right now, going into this week, I have Lockett as a bust, if I'm being honest with you. I have Lockett as a bust because if I have Lockett, I'm trying to get rid of him, in my opinion. I'm trying to trade him. I hope he can still be a piece at some point to go to somebody for something that I'm looking for. If you're mediocre at running back, I'm trying to push like a Lockett and something else for a good running back because Lockett, year in and year out, dramatically falls and just really teeters off. And but DK Metcalf, it's hard, man. DK Metcalf is going to have that 180, 150 yard game like Tyreek Hill. It's coming, but does it happen against Jalen Ramsey with the Rams? It's hard. I almost could say that this is going to be a bust game for him, but at number 5, I can't. So I'll just stick with Lockett being the bust. At number 6, DJ Moore. Sam Darnold's playing a lot better than anybody thought he was going to play. And he's going to DJ Moore. DJ Moore against Philly this week. I'm liking it. I thought I was kind of saying 3 years ago DJ Moore was going to be we'll be talking about DJ Moore being a top receiver in the league, and I think he's getting to that point right now. So I'm liking him. Number 7, Justin Jefferson against a very, very bad Detroit Lions. Justin Jefferson's going to burn somebody. Jefferson's going to have a 60-yard touchdown this game. Mark it down. Where are we at? Number 8, Deebo Samuel against Arizona. 49ers they're going to have to play. If it's Lance, he's going to have to show up and sling that ball because Arizona's going to do it. Arizona's serious right now. Look what they just did to the Rams. All the Rams are Super Bowl caliber team. I think the Cardinals are Super Bowl caliber team. I think those two teams are just very dangerous right now. And Cardinals are going to be pushing that game. And the 49ers are going to have to keep up. Deebo Samuel is just having a great year. So, number 9, Terry McLaurin, who kind of last week he was on my bust. He was on my bust. I'll start admitting that some of these guys were on my busts, mainly for the fact of I was really worried what was going to happen to him past Fitzpatrick not being there. I'm really not high still on Heineke, but he's going to Scary Terry. He's giving it to him, and against New Orleans, he's got that burn speed, and like I said, I think he's going to have a burner in this game too. At number 10, Keenan Allen against Cleveland. Cleveland is, man, they're just dangerous, and that's why I had to put these Chargers down a little bit this week. But still, with what that team is producing on offense, it's hard to not put them up there. Mike Williams had an off week this week. It was his very first off week. I think he had 2 points this week, but we're talking about a man that's having like a career year. He had a sick year. He's probably over 400 yards right now. It's a good team. Keenan Allen being number 1, he's got to be up there. Notables that should be on the list. Just it's hard to put everybody on the list, obviously. I do have CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb against the New York Giants. Amari Cooper is being dinged up a little bit. The Dallas is starting to use like Schultz and stuff like that a lot, but CD is going to be the recipient of this game. I've talked a lot about CD, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But yeah, he probably should be in there. Probably. Can I switch him in? Can I switch him out with Deebo Samuel? Probably for sure. It's just, man, it's hard to come up with a top 10 and not add other people when you also have like people playing like Jamar Chase, who's got a touchdown every single game this year. Jamar Chase is looking really good with Burrow. Burrow is excited to have him over there, and so like Jamar Chase is another notable. And another notable who has been on my bust every single week. Watch what this guy he probably will have his game this week. They are in London this week, so I'm giving it to Calvin Ridley as a notable against the Jets. That is a bad team. What was the NFL thinking when they were like, hey, we're going to have a game in London this year? Let's give them Atlanta and the Jets. Yikes. I'd be pissed off. But yeah, Calvin Ridley. Let's see. Maybe this guy has a breakout game. 125 yards, 150. What people are expecting out of Calvin Ridley. Is it going to happen this week? We'll see. And then, like I said, my bust was Lockett. And then I do have one more bust. And this is just because he's not having a terrible year. He's not. But for what this team's producing, he's not being exactly a part of it, which is a worrisome thing. And against San Fran, they're still a good defense. I don't know if they lock him down, but I do have Hopkins. I have DeAndre Hopkins on my bust list. So, that's kind of all I have for today. I didn't really get together with my my sports betting stuff. I didn't really get that. I didn't get too involved on that. Looking into it, like again, it's kind of been a rough week. I promise we'll have a little bit better of a put together show next week for all you guys. But thank you guys every single week. Anybody who subscribes, likes my channel on YouTube, I appreciate you guys so much. Anybody who comes in here and watches on my Twitch live with me as I'm going and chats in here, again, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Everybody that gives me their time is the most valuable thing you have in your life, and for you to give me a second of it is amazing. So thank you, everybody, from the Buds Fantasy Football Show. I will see everybody next week on here.